Hi everyone. So I wanted to go over today's lesson in financial algebra. We are talking today about keeping a check register. And so the first thing we did was go to the class notebook. I'm going to share this screen with you. So in Office 365 in our Teams folder, go to Teams. And make sure you're in period 4 financial algebra. And if you click on class notebook, it will bring up this page here. And then open this up by clicking on this arrow. And then what you want to do is find your name. Now, you won't see all this list of names. You'll probably just see your name. And then click on class notes. And then over here, we have this blank, should be blank, page of notes. Okay, so I clicked on the notes that's on deposits and withdrawals, and it opens up this note page. Now, if you click on here, this is what we worked on today. We did this in class together. We did the first few together, and then what you can do is double click on this little symbol here and download it to your computer. Okay. And then over here, we could double click on the download and that will bring it up. Okay, and then we're going to edit this. So that's the process you do to edit this. Okay, we go down. And then we put in a bunch of different words for transactions. Okay, so I will show you what yours should look like when it's all done. Let me pause this for a minute. So these are the words we talked about. You have all these words represent adding something into your checkbook register, and these represent subtracting something from your checkbook register. So these are the different words that stand for deposits, and these are the different words that stand for withdrawals. And the reason that we're looking at these different words is because when you have a checking account, not only do you get checks, but you get a check register. And this check register is a way for you to keep track of what your balance should be and not just rely on what your bank says you have. And so if you need to know when a certain transaction gets deposited and when a certain transaction gets withdrawn from your balance. So you could pause the video here and make sure you have these different sort of vocabulary or concepts listed. And then what we did is we looked at using an Excel spreadsheet to create a check register. So if we go to Microsoft Office, again, back to Microsoft Office, this is where we find our Teams icon, but we also have Excel here. And we are going to be using Excel throughout the year, so might as well start now. So let's open this up, click on that Excel button, excuse me, and then you're going to open a new blank workbook. So if you follow along with what I'm doing here, then that will make your assignment tonight easier. So what I've done is I've just set up, or what we're going to do here together is we're going to set up what a blank check register looks like. The first column is for code or a number. If you're writing checks, you would put the check number here. If you're doing something else like a deposit, you could write D. If you're doing a withdrawal, you could write W. There's different codes that you could use yourself to just keep track of the different kinds of transactions. So that's the first column. The second column is for the date. The third column is a description of the transaction. Now, this column is very small, so I'm going to make it bigger. If you go up here to the top of the column, you'll see this little sliding cursor. So if you put your cursor there, oops, and slide this along, I'm going to slide it to about 4 regular size columns, and then you let go and it now makes that column wider. Okay, so we're going to put in here transaction description. Okay, the next column, the first column after the transaction description is withdrawal. Okay, I need to make this a little bit bigger, so I'm going to go up here again to the column letter and make it a little bit bigger. And then the next column is for deposits. And I'm going to make this one about the same width just so that they're the same. Okay, so I want you to keep this next column empty, as we'll come back to that later. Oops. Over here in the last column, I want you to write balance. And we can make this bigger too if you want. Okay, so here we have, I should have gone over this to begin with, and I did in class, but in this little video here, an Excel spreadsheet is made up of columns, and the columns are all labeled with letters, and rows, and the rows are all labeled with numbers. If I pick a specific box, that's called a cell, and you see how it's highlighted the letter and the number for that cell. So this would be cell C2, and this would be B3. Okay, so that gives a specific sort of label to each cell, and we're going to use that to make our lives easier. So we took an example where we had a starting balance, and so I'm going to write here starting balance. Oops, balance. And we gave ourselves a starting balance of $1,000. Okay, so one of the things that I also want to do is to make it so that dollars come up as dollars. Because I'm talking about money here, I'm going to click on this whole column. Everything in here is talking about money. I'm going to click on this dollar symbol here and choose English United States. So now we have a little dollar symbol that pops up. I'm going to do the same thing here for deposits, English United States, and I'm going to do withdrawals, English United States. And if you want, you can go over here to date and choose over here general. Let's see if I can find date. So this is all the different kinds of numbers. So I would click general. Let's do long date. Okay, so our starting balance is $1,000. And in class, we just made up some different amounts. So I may make up some different amounts from what we had in class. Suppose I have 500, I'm going to write a check and it's 512. Suppose I wrote it yesterday. Okay, and it is oh, I don't want that kind of long date. Let me go back and fix that. I want a short date. That's better. Okay, let me make this smaller now. I don't need such a big space for my date. Suppose we write this check to our nephew. This is something we did in a little bit different order in class days. I'm going to write a check to our nephew. And since I'm writing the check, it's going to come out, the amount's going to come out. So I'm going to put it in the withdrawal column and I'm going to say $20. Okay, so it automatically comes up as $20. And then I want to set up over here the new balance. And the way I want you to set this up is to create a formula, because Excel and any other kind of spreadsheet really makes math easier if you know how to set up a formula. So the first thing we do when we're setting up a formula is we write equals in the box. That tells the program that this is going to be a formula. And then what I want to do is either input numbers or particular cells to make the formula work. What I want to do is take the previous balance, which was $1,000, and I'm going to subtract any withdrawals. So I say minus, and I click on this withdrawal box. And then I also want to just set this up as a general formula to do anything, whether it's a withdrawal or a deposit. So then I'm going to say plus deposits right there. Okay, and then if I click enter, it goes ahead and does the subtraction. It subtracts the one that was in this cell. And it adds what's in this cell, but because there's nothing there, it doesn't change anything. Okay, so let's do another transaction. Suppose I get cash from the ATM. And I do this also yesterday. Okay, cash. And suppose I get, let's see, I'm gonna get $40 cash back. Okay, so I wanna take $40 away from my previous balance, but I'm gonna have the Excel program do it. So I'm gonna say equals, take the previous balance, click on that cell, minus, click on this cell, plus, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this cell because I want to create a general formula that will help me later on. And then if I hit enter, whoops, oh, there it goes, just took a little while. So that makes sense. Let's try another one. Suppose I get paid, and I'm going to say deposit. Let's say I get paid today, and this is my paycheck. And we decided that we get paid $500. All right. So now I want to do the same thing. Repeat this formula, equals, click on this, that's the previous balance. I'm going to say minus this box, even though there's nothing in there. I'm going to say plus this box. Okay, and now I've added $500. Now the reason I'm doing this formula over and over again is to set up a pattern. Because once a pattern has been set up, then we do a little nifty trick, which I'll show you in a minute, that will repeat the pattern, and then I don't have to keep writing the formula in. So just let's take a look at what we've done so far. So in this box, over here on this space bar, it tells us what the formula is. It's G2 minus D3 plus E3. This one, G3 minus D4 plus E4. This one, G4 minus D5 plus E5. So it's taking the previous cell, adding this one, subtracting this one, adding this one, and putting the answer in this box. Okay, so now let's try the next line and see how this will help us once we've established this pattern. Suppose I write another check. The next check will be $513, and I'm going to write this check to TEP. And suppose we use a lot of electricity, and our check is $220. Okay, so I've already established the pattern, which says take the previous balance, subtract what's in here, add what's in here. So what I'm going to do is highlight the cells, three is a pretty good number, that have that pattern, that repeat that pattern so that the computer can understand what to do. And then grab this little hook here and pull it down. So that should subtract 220. So I should end up with 1,220. And there you go. Okay. So this is the setup. This is what we're going to be doing today in today's assignment. Let me go ahead and show you what that is. In assignments for today, classwork 6. And then let me go over here to student view. So you're going to use the attach empty Excel spreadsheet. So let me show you what that looks like. The titles have been set up for you, but the balance isn't set up as any kind of formula. So you have to set up the formula. So you'd open that up and edit the workbook. Okay, and then you're going to be putting in different transactions. The transactions come from here, from this workbook page. Okay, it's a little bit tiny, but maybe you can see. Hopefully there's a way to zoom in. I think you can probably go over here and make this bigger. It's making it smaller. How weird. Okay, so we have this. So we're going to give ourselves a starting balance on February 25th of 769.22. And then the next transaction, we're going to write this amount and figure out what the new balance is. Same here. Next line down and figure out what the new balance is. Okay, so this is to work on in class on your own, and then tomorrow it is Wednesday, but I want you to come to check in to class as usual. Wednesday's class starts at 11:03, and then I want to see if you have any questions